Hello everybody. I am doing a series of T-TRAK videos on layout types, module types, wiring, what have you. And I'm doing 3 videos specifically on some of the basic module types. In 2 other videos I've covered back-to-back configurations, I've covered dog bone configurations, and all of those configurations basically use straight modules and corner modules, which can make for some okay, interesting shapes. But as your layouts become larger and more interesting, you need to have some modules that do kind of cool things for you and make your layout appetizing or maybe unique. Maybe you're trying to do a unique layout every time you go somewhere. And you're going to need some helpers. So in this video, I'm going to go over 2 modules that came in somewhat later in N-Scale and are super duper handy and really enhance the way that N-Scale can display their modules. Those 2 modules are an inside corner and a junction. So I'm going to go over the junction first. I think it's the junction is a really cool helper module. So a junction is 3, it is a junction, let me back up here. A junction module is 3 pieces of tracks. If you look at a junction module, it is the inside curves of a corner. So it's 2 corners jammed together. It has a geometry of 2 corners stuck together with their smallest radius. And then the second track on the back is a straight track that passes through instead of having the other track for the corner. So the basic function of this is sort of a Y. You could think about this as a type of Y maybe, but the straight track at the top is a second line, right? So there are some interesting uses for junctions. I'm only going to cover a couple of them here. There's a lot more you can do creatively with them, but I'm going to show just a couple of common things you can do with them. The first thing I'm going to show is something that some of my local club members really like doing. They will run a dog bone setup, so they'll stretch their layout, make it look big and puffy with a single row of modules. I put it against the wall. I've covered dog bone layouts in another one of my videos, but this is a dog bone layout. It's a single side viewable layout that you put against the wall. And they will use a junction module. Instead of a dedicated balloon loop or something in that nature, they'll use a junction module and create a small double loop area. And they'll dedicate each one of these areas typically to a specific modeler. So you'll have Modeler Joe. He'll come in and he'll have a certain number of modules, maybe some corner modules, and someone will provide a junction, and it'll create a small loop area. The dog bone wraps around this area and also creates a small inner loop that modeler can control on his own with a small DC power pack. But you can see the junction module, basically, anytime you add a junction module, it either adds an inside loop or it adds a branch. So another thing you can do with these type of modules, if you have 2 of them, bear with me for just a moment, please. If you want to have a same type of area, a small double loop area that's kind of on its own, your main line wraps around the double loop area, but you don't want to, this isn't the end of a dog bone. This is we call this an aisle, but it's an area in the middle of the layout. Now this could be just one side of the layout, so you could have these protuberances away from the main run of the layout on both sides of your layout. So if you imagine another pair of these on the other side of the table, then you would have like a cross shape, right? You would have a small loop area here. You would go down to the far end. You would do a turnaround. You would have 2 other junctions and another loop that would go the other way. And then your run would make a corners around the other end. You'd have a kind of a 4-point type of system with these modules. So junctions are really handy in that way. The other way you can use a junction is you can make a dog bone area on your layout, or a branch area. People call it a branch area, but same idea. So this main line will just come out, and it'll run dog bone style, where it's one circuit. The two tracks are just one piece of track. It'll have a return loop at the end, and it'll travel back on the same track. So it's like a diversion of traffic away from the standard two-track unexciting run on a layout. You can have a junction here, and it runs out and kind of does something cool, and then it comes right back in on the line again. For this reason, T-Trak ends up with the outside line ends up being a lot longer, because you tend to do this thing away from the center of the table, which means you're doing it with the outside line. So those are some of the basic features of Junction. I'd really recommend, if anyone's serious about doing this type of format and being a provider for layouts and helping design the layouts, you know, if you're going somewhere and you're actually going to help make the layout cool, I would greatly recommend that you have a couple of Junctions in your inventory. The other module I'm going to talk about is so this would seem like a pretty simple thing, but this actually didn't show up until a little later in T-TRAK-Z history. But this is an inside corner. So if you want to make an L shape or a C shape of your double-sided racetrack or your dog bone, either way, then you need not only outside corners, these type of corners here, but you need to be able to make the other turn. Interestingly, depending on the size corners you use, the inside corner has a different radius track. It's not the same radius. The reason for that is the geometry. An inside corner needs to sit opposite of an even number of modules on the other side of it. So this is a smallest radius inside corner, but it is 220/245 size. It's the middle corner size, but it has to have a different radius for it to fit correctly and fit an even number of modules behind it. So imagine this being the corner of an L or the corner of a C. Your outside would come around, have an outside corner, make the turn, and would continue this way. And in order for all of your modules to connect together, they need to be even multiples. Everything needs to have the right geometry. So you'd have a corner, and then you'd have two more links, or a double on the other side, and then the rest of this all fits. So to do that, the radiuses have to be a little bit different, and you get a little more scenery area with this type of module because you've got a lot of area there outside of the little trench area. So these modules tend to be a little on the large side. But those are inside corners. Inside corner geometries work for the minimum corner size, the 195/220s. And there is also interestingly, a smaller inside corner that's 195/220, and it works with the medium size outside corners. So if you're running the 220/245 outside corners, you need a 195/220 inside corner. If you're running the 245/270 inside corners, the largest corners for this format, that are spec'd for this format, then you actually have to make a really large inside corner, because due to the size of that broad corner that goes around the back, this now needs to be 3 module lengths on the inside. We've already done the architecture and the design for that. You're welcome to go back and repeat and double check the work that's been done, but you'll need a really large inside corner if you do 245/270 corner sizes for the format. Okay, so that is inside corners. If you need to do C and L shapes and make inside corners, you need to make these. These are odd geometries, they're odd sizes, and you need this cutout here in order for the module here to look nice when it hits it. So this is kind of a custom shape. You can DIY these, and we also have CMR products making these for us. This is a CMR Products inside corner along with the backboards that they manufacture for it. Same thing with the junctions. The junctions are, I have dimensions for the junctions in the standard, so you have the size box you need for the standard. I don't put backboards or outlets. I don't generally put outlets wiring on any of the curves because of all the odd ways that you can use them. So I generally don't put feeders on them. But CMR makes junctions as well. These are CMR products. smallest radius junctions. So these curves go with your corner size. So this is smallest radius, inside radius, so that's 195 millimeter inside turns. As you go bigger, you just have a bigger radius. There is a junction design available for each of the three corner sizes. Inside corners, not really going to work with the largest corner size. You got to have a really large module. You may wish you hadn't gone with the larger corner size for the inside corners. Okay, so that's it. I wanted to go over junctions and inside corners, and that really covers the basic modules for T-TRAK-Z. May do some more advanced topics in the future. There are these things called star junctions that I'm in the middle of building that can give you odd angle exits. It's like a super junction with 30 and 60 degree exits to make cool layout geometries. But I will go over that in a future video. Please watch my channel. I'm going to cover more layout videos, and I'm also going to cover some wiring topics. Appreciate it. Thanks.